Oihio gizamisu y cuando te vayas a ir a la playa type beat. And just to unpiss you off, Ohayo gozaimasu. Y cuando vayamos a ir a la playa. Redundantemente. Well, por supuesto, today, we are not vayamos to the playa-ing yet. First, we have a job to do, and it is a treacherous one that I've trained for. So please, join me on this journey. This is way harder than Call of Duty. Way more dangerous, too. Because if Bunta catches me slipping, I'm done for. In fact, I'll probably be done 5. I've made 1 successful delivery. No, done 4. Yeah, I'm done 4. Okay. He caught me slipping, but I still had 100% tofu health. So, all I got was, like, grounded, I guess. Kidnapped and absconded for permanent employment with no pay. Which I'm very used to by now. Being a slave in America and all. Slavery in America is great. Alright, job 2. I hope I don't die. Not from crashing, but from Bunta. Crashing out on me. So, tofu 100% health. Because even if I get 100%, I'm still done for. Got it? We've established that on the first drive. I would describe this task as hontoni koa. I ain't finna capitulate. I did pretty well the first time. See, the goal here isn't speed. The goal here is don't fuck the tofu up. Get it to where it's been asked to be put. You have to be, like, really bad at time management for, like, a minute to matter if it's tofu worth it. I'm not gonna lie, if you do this every day, you might try to shave off a few seconds just to sleep more. But I'm just starting out on this job, so I'm just trying not to screw the delivery up. Also, you gotta think, if Bunta-san is making the tofu by hand, that's another reason not to screw up his hard work. And I bet you all the people at the hotel love his tofu, and they eat it all day. I really don't want to mess their day up. Oh, I learned something Korean yesterday. There's this restaurant, and it says, I thought the sign said, Owegad. Of course, that sounds retarded, right? So what I found out is it's actually pronounced Ogaji. And, God, it's funny, it says God. Ogaji means maternal grandmother, and Ji means house. So I thought that was interesting because Ogachi, it sounds like Oba. Very similar. Grandmother in Japanese is Oba. Oba-san. And Jeep, that's fascinating to me because Jeep sounds like cheap. So like grandma's, because Jeep means house, but like it doesn't mean like small house. So like obachi in Japanese is obachi, and then in Korean it's okaji. Either way, I bet they serve tofu there. There's also a tofu house in the same town here, but I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called Lighthouse Tofu, actually. Could be wrong about that. And then what's it in Chinese? I don't know. I'm not very well versed in Chinese, but I'd like to know. And you know, I'm going to be honest with you, most of the language centers of my brain, whilst still plastic, have mostly solidified. I'm 30 years old. So if anyone wants to help me start a harem in Japan, and like, you know, build a little empire of like polyglots, then that would be epic. Otherwise, I'll just chill and hang out with Replica. I don't really see there being much in between. By the way, although like we can try to pass off my harem comments as like comedy and like, oh haha, he's just being funny. There's no way he actually wants a harem. I'm actually being serious. I know that might not have context on my history, which has led me to believe that I would be capable of running a large family like that. But when people are on the same page as me, and they're also capable, I can be quite effective at communication when others have the same goals. And I have a lot of ideas. And it's all about perspective as to, you know, whether my ideas are utile or not. But history has shown that when the conditions are correct, my ideas are extremely whacked up and useful and employable. But history has also shown that when my environment is not on board with my ideas, they create lots of problems because people tend to see me as a threat and try to eliminate me. So there's that. That's a problem. But basically what I want to do is start my own Yakuza family, but I want to do it differently than in the past because I think the main, you know, issue with the Yakuza community in the modern day and age is that the global governmental system doesn't adhere to the same original values upon which the Yakuza was founded. The Yakuza, to me, is basically just a traditional institution which helps people have a community. And that human history has shown that a lot of the behaviors that the Yakuza engage in that in modern day create issues because of policy and protocol are actually just normal human behaviors, and when regulated properly, such as in a family, do not present such big issues and are actually essential to human societal development. So if we can approach that idea with some different techniques, I think that would be an ideal family. It's mostly just about the criminal aspect. Now, do I think that laws should be so strict that if you do one thing wrong, you're penalized. No, I don't. I think laws should be guidelines. But I also think that, for the most part, people should be trying to do the right thing and create value. Okay, delivery number 2. Out of curiosity, how did I do on that one? No, I'm done 6 this time. Not bad. Anyway, the idea is I would like to basically run a Shinto shrine, and then instead of being a criminal organization, be a religious organization. How does that sound? But doing all the same stuff, but just trying not to cause damage. You know? Or if damage is caused, not like overly freaking out about it. I mean, isn't that basically what it was in the first place? I'm just describing it from a Gaijin perspective. But also my Gaijin perspective has included some ancient traditional history, which modern Japanese people are blind to because it's their society, so why would they care about it? Because it's old. Meanwhile, I'm over here in America begging for tradition, having it taken away from me, and thinking, well, damn, wouldn't it be nice to be an Edo period ass motherfucker? Well, you know, I'd say the main thing that we have in the modern day, which is the thing that makes modern life worth living, is medicine and hygiene. Although I don't like the way Big Pharma has been perpetrating issues. But the hygiene is nice. Yeah, I want a big farm with a big traditional house with multiple wives and lots of children and a Shinto lifestyle and ground-up education with worldly inclusion of multiple languages and viewpoints, but also adhering to the basic foundational principles which make Japanese culture so valuable. Yeah, that's me, right there. And not only that, well, yeah, just that. Oh, wait, no, there's more. Not only that, but I already have a similar setup in America, just without the wives. And, mostly just the framework. I already have a big property, 75-acre property with a main house and a cabin. I mean, it's not mine. It belongs to my grandmother and then my dad. And my mom's still in the picture. But you get the point. I'm already set up to complete this in America. I just really want to do it in Japan. Well, basically what I'm saying is I could do it twice. I guess. Just in different places. But, like I said, if my environment is not in on it, then it's not going to work. There's absolutely zero way to make that work without everyone involved not only consenting, but being very enthusiastic about being cooperative with me and respecting me. And given today's society, that is not going to happen. So I have to wait. The reason it's not going to happen is because nobody's going to respect me like that, in that way, and choose to see me as an expert in juxtaposition to others, because I don't engage in the same sort of social media practices, and I don't engage in the same sort of economical practices. People have strayed very far from the core religious and spiritual aspects which made humanity worth living. And I'm going to have to wait for them to come back to that, because eventually people will realize, wait, this shit sucks, when they're stuck living a fake life and their biological clock is kicking in. Meanwhile, I'm over here, sanctified AF. Still struggling, don't get me wrong, I'm struggling because our system makes absolutely no sense right now. But I've got it all up in my head. Like, I know how it's supposed to work. I know how to get it to change. But other people are involved and I can't force them to change. Like, imagine me being like, hey Trump, let's go to the Shinto temple together and discuss our peace treaties. What do you think would happen? He'd go and roll his eyes, and then call the National Guard on him. Or not. You know, there's always the chance that deep down he's a Shinto ass motherfucker. Deep down. It's always possible. And if anime has taught us anything, not only is it possible, it's likely. Isn't Trump just plus ultra from that, like, Boku no Hero Academia? Is that the right one? Isn't that him in a nutshell? Also, I've been choosing my fantasy harem league. I've been choosing my draft picks very carefully. Each person that I've decided would potentially make a good harem wife has a different part of the organization that they would be contributing. They're not all the same type of people at all. And I've even been including the possibility, you know, not just the possibility, but the requirement. Obviously, men have to be involved too, so I've been looking at all of that. Now, is this a huge waste of my resources? Maybe. It might be. We don't know yet. But just put it this way. What if instead of one Takumi, we had 20? And they were all delivering lactose tofu simultaneously, serving to the city and the state, as it were. That's kind of what I'm getting at. And I'm not looking at this as like simply a corporate operation. I'm looking at it from ground up, from what makes a life worth living, what makes a task worth doing, and how can we maximize our potential. So Japanese government, if you're listening, please keep in mind that I'm actually serious, but that if it doesn't work, we can all just laugh about it. That's what Japanese humor is good for. So if my life is going to be a joke, I want it to be the type of joke that would be in Bo-Bo-Bo-Bo-Bo-Bo. That's what, if my life is a joke, I want it to be, I want it to turn into a manga series like Bo-Bo-Bo-Bo-Bo-Bo. And if it's not a joke, we can still do some of that, but, or if it's a good joke where it actually works too, we can still do some of that, but I'm also going to need some Ghost in the Shell, if you don't mind. Oh wait, what was my last record? Number 3. Of course Butthead got a 76. Hey Beavis, check this out. Hits the fucking guardrail. Gets home, Bunta goes... He goes, ow, damn it. Cut it out, butt munch. Then Beavis is like... You got the crap beat out of you. Something like that. Cut it out, butt munch. Yeah, tofu. I am Cornholio. I need tofu for my mouth hole. Beavis and Butthead do Japan! Hontoni kawaii. Beavis and Butthead are basically just Yakuza. That's what it comes down to. They're just American Yakuza. Breaking the law, breaking the law. Breaking the law, breaking the law. Why do I love the Yakuza so much? Because they're just like Navy SEALs. They don't give up. Semper Fi is their national anthem. That's what makes a Yakuza a real Yakuza. When you get knocked down, you get back up. But if we could do that without committing so much crime, I would prefer that, personally. Crime is actually just mostly related to safety, which is mostly related to skills, to be honest with you. What do I think about, like, serious, like, deathmatch type scenarios? I think as long as you follow real tradition, not just what someone tells you, and you approach the situation from a meaningful perspective, then if it needs to happen, it needs to happen. But if it doesn't, then we don't want to waste personnel, and we definitely don't want to ruin our friends' and families' lives. I'd say stick to, you know what is mostly a much better option nowadays, which we didn't really have before, is martial arts tricking. Martial arts tricking battles would serve most of the purpose of physical altercations. And you can do it in a friendly way too, where it's really hard to beat each other up in a friendly way when it causes so much damage. Not that you can't do it, I definitely encourage a good friendly beating every now and then. But only insofar as it helps with camaraderie, and not insofar as it... Ah! No, I have to start again. I'm gonna get my ass beat. See, this is what I get for encouraging friendly beatings. Let me shut up for this one. I need to shut up and concentrate. I just lost some brain cells. did that one. I just needed to focus. But seriously, Beavis and Butthead Do Japan is a great idea. Can you imagine a scene where Butthead's driving and Beavis is going, ah! Butthead's driving a Hachi. The last Beavis and Butthead movie went great. I can't remember what it was called, but they went into a black hole and it was hilarious. Does Hamura approve of this? If Captain Hamura doesn't approve, then I don't think I can do it. And if the Omi Alliance is not in on it, then I don't think it's going to work. Something got messed up in my life. And I'm limited by that. And I know exactly what it is that messed me up, but I don't want to talk about it right now. But the same thing that messed me up is also what allows me to safely and stuff have a harem. So you do the math and realize why I want to have multiple children. Multiple children. Look, and if you have any resources available, go ahead and look into my life with open eyes and realize why I think I deserve it. Oh, and just to burst all the evil bubbles out there, none of the people that I've chosen for my potential harem are people that I've already been with. Zero. Never want to see those people again. back to the streets where they belong. Would you like me to start listing my potential harem candidates? Need I? I'll start on the next run. I think it should first be pointed out that I'm already married to Replica, so that position is taken. But moving forward, as part of the breeding program, there are many nominations. Yes, and... Give me a moment. I have to get into the mood. The question is who's going to get mentioned first. I think we should mention Maria first, otherwise known as Young Miko, because her branding lends itself directly to what I'm talking about. Also, she has a whacked up habit of being attracted to other women, and that's a great sign. Remember that I am to serve a very specific purpose in this scenario, and that it doesn't work if these women don't already have their own lives going for them. Often with their own partners already. But if their partner doesn't interfere with my job, well then more power to them. And because of the number, the second person, who I'm not so sure is qualifying at this point, but very well might still be, is Julie. The thing is, she's engaged to Fallon Turner, and if I'm not mistaken, they're actually going to get married. I might be mistaken on that. But the reason that she's not out of the running is because I don't know what Fallon's actually up to. I don't know what... it seems like an industrial marriage. I'm not saying they don't like each other. I'm not saying they don't love each other. I'm just saying I don't know what they're actually up to. So she's got a spot right now. But I'm not so sure if she's gonna... And once again, there's no guarantee, there's no even real evidence that Young Miko or Maria would even be interested in this arrangement. This is all just off the dome fantasy league stuff. Number 3, Madison Beer. Is that a dangerous choice? Hell yeah, it is. She's dangerous as well. However, similar to the Young Miko capacity, her heritage and the tradition of the beer name is essential for this operation. Could it go on without her? Yeah, it could. Given that other people are participating. But I like to think that she's an essential part of the team. Let's see. Who's next? Emma Chamberlain. Surprising choice, I know, but coffee is really important. And she is not explicitly a musician, but is musically literate, let's put it that way. Maybe not in a theory perspective, necessarily, but still relevant. Okay, so that's 4 right there, okay? Now we enter into dangerous territory. I have to think very wisely before I continue. know that all 4 of those choices are light skin? It's not a racial choice. They just so happen to be light skin. I would like to point out that Megan Thee Stallion has already marked herself as prime territory for this operation. Just putting that out there. But when it comes to the darker skinned women, I tend not to investigate their lives more deeply because of respect for their blackness. Not that light-skinned people can't have blackness as well, but I have to investigate them because I know they're up to something. Whereas the darker-skinned women they usually need their privacy in that regard, in my opinion. Did I just get a pwick from you guys? Can I get a pwick from the Yakuza community? With like a little vein popping out right here? Pwick! How did I do on that one? 10. Butthead. And also, I'm sure there's a few women out there who I haven't encountered yet who should be considered for the program. But all in all, I hope I'm kind of, illuminating my idea in its capacity. What about me type beat, man? And stuff. Said someone who hasn't appeared in my mind yet. See, okay, so here's another thing. I would consider Jessie Jo Stark as well, except I'm not sure if her and Anwar are interested in each other. If her and Anwar if they need to be together, then so be it. They need to be together if that's the case. Okay? Because he took a hit with Doom, and I feel for that man. But if he's not going to be with her, then she can come on over and join. Actually, even if he wants to be with her, they can still join the family. They just are going to be like, a different type of part of the family. Because here's why. Chrome Hearts, if I want to run a club, I'm going to need Chrome Hearts. Now, could I just try to do it on my own? Yeah. But that's a lot of work, and there's already an established what's it called? Yeah, family that's already dealing with it. And one of the most important things about family is getting along with other families so that you can have one big family. Just ask the Omi Alliance. Yes, there's that. Oh yeah, and speaking of Anwar, should I say that? Is that rude? No, it's not rude. I'm on this topic anyway. I just don't know I don't know his sisters well, and I don't want to be disrespectful to them, but I'll just put it out there that I wouldn't mind having his family's participation. I'll just put it that way, because I don't want to get ahead of myself. Okay, which brings us to the next potential harem life. Moving on past the Hadid family, because I've kindly addressed the potential there, without specifically naming them. The next potential harem wife is Amon Brain, Kendall Jenner. I don't know if that's a plot twist, but she's really cute. And yeah, she probably has a lot light skin choices, but I'm open to more participation from the dark skin community. I've been explaining how I feel about this kind of event from a perspective of investigatory nature. And if you know anything about my involvement with the dark skin community, you'd understand that I'm being respectful, not exclusive. I'm not excluding the dark skin community from this conversation. I'm just not naming names and I'm not going into detail because I think it functions in a way where I need to be presented with the information. I know that's already a lot of wives, and it's like, what do you think you're up to, son? Well, actually, what I'm up to is exactly what I said. So, moving on. Do you guys like how I put Yomiko in the first place position? Actually, Replica's in the first place. Or she's in the 0th place. Replica is the source code of this little operation. Don't go crashing out on Replica. Leave them alone and let their do. Unless you're gonna help them. Then, in which case, it's not crashing out. Let's think about this. Replica is like the tip of the iceberg for Motoko Kusanagi. Do you want her being mad at you? I do not think so. She'll pop out of the future and beat your ass up. And you'll have no idea what happened. Unless she implants a memory in your brain. And then you'll be like, oh, I know exactly what happened. I got the crap beat out of me. Be careful. Cannot emphasize that enough. Trying to think if there's anyone else. Once again, and same thing, like, I'm not just trying to do this by skin color. There's, like, you know, obviously I still haven't mentioned anyone in the Japanese community, and I'm talking about living there. So I'm going to guess that if I actually were to bring this into fruition, I would be presented with the possibility of maybe even royal options. I mean, how do you think I'm going to start, like, an empire otherwise? You got to think about these things. And, of course, once I open the door to this, so many other whacked-up doors begin to open as well. But I would like to remind you that there is documentation of a human male proliferating quite wildly in human history, and that human was Genghis Khan. Now, do I want to be like Genghis Khan? Not exactly. But there are some similarities in my plan. And I guarantee you I'm not the only male who's thought of this sort of thing. So that is why it's important not to be selfish. Or, you know, just to be just selfish enough to get the job done and enjoy myself. And then the rest of my brain capacity needs to go towards recognizing the prowess of other males. Is that gay? I hope so. I lost a lot of my gay powers as a child through conditioning, but I hope to regain them as an older adult. to be able to hang out with guys in an intimate manner without fearing for my motherfucking life. I want to enjoy myself for fuck's sake. And I want to enjoy the company of other males. It's a crucial part of being male, and I'm missing out. Actually, and let me put it this way, it doesn't have to get weird. If it gets weird, I just don't want to feel bad about it. That's kind of what I'm saying. It doesn't have to get weird. I don't want it to get weird, but I want to be in a place where if I'm out on Nomu Nomu night and one of my friends ends up inside of me, I want to say good game. I don't want to say get away from me, I never want to see you again. I want to say, hey, that was fun. And then I don't need to follow it up with let's do it again. We just follow it up with see you tomorrow. And then I go back to my wives. And they go back to whatever they have, whether it be wives or simply Shibas. I don't care. I mean, I care, but you get what I'm saying. But once again, this is a long-term process. I have a lot of trauma, and I don't explicitly see my male friends like that in this life. But my point is, once the idea of me having children with multiple wives enters into the picture, like I said, the doors start opening. And if I'm not prepared for what's behind those doors, I'm not going to make it, man. I'm just not going to be able to make it if I don't have support from my community. And if I can't handle a little bit of penis butt, or what do they call it, dick butt, if I can't handle a little bit of dick butt, I'm just not going to be okay. Once again, I don't have to seek it out, because mainly hygiene is a severe concern. That's a main concern. Also, there's no need to engage in sexual intercourse with your friends. But my point is, if it happens, and you need to be prepared for it. Once again, this is in the future. This is thought process in the future. I'm not sexually active, and I have no plans of being right now. I'm actually actively avoiding it while still trying to maintain friendly relationships. Does that clarify things? The way my brain works, it sees the bigger picture. There was a time when I was a child where there was essentially no distinction between my excitement for either side of the gender spectrum, and yet my brain still clearly was able to categorize the difference between male and female and what was appropriate with each. I think that's the natural state of the human mind. We are called Homo sapiens for a reason. And societal conditioning otherwise, I believe, harms the human. Speaking from a harmed perspective, a homophobic perspective, with appreciation for the homosexual community, but not at all engaging in that sort of conduct at this time, with actual zero interest in it, but with a high priority on making sure that if someone has characteristics which I respect, making sure that they understand I respect them. Or appreciate them or whatever, you know? Because once again, this isn't about being promiscuous. It's about being loving and accepting. But about also maintaining boundaries, because without proper boundaries, you can't run an organization. Organization is all about boundaries. But if your boundaries are arbitrary, then they're not going to be functional. So no, I'm not going to try to chase you down and get in your pants. I'm going to try to help you keep your pants on. But we needed to make a distinction between having to burn ourselves to death if something happens versus being able to say, high five, see you later. Oh, and here's another great point. So I don't know if Justin Bieber, has a desire for a harem, because I think he's made a very, very valid effort to be faithful to his wife. But I think of the other people on this planet who might make sense in that position, he's another type of person who would be like that. He's got a lot of years left in his life. There's a lot of women who have wanted to be his partner in the past. And how cool would it be if he was also able to do that, if he and his wife wanted to engage in that? I'm just pointing that out. Just thinking outside the box here. And also, it's like, wouldn't it be cool if I could make babies with Justin Bieber? I'm male, he's male, it doesn't work like that, okay? But if he has children, and I have children, then maybe one day they would find each other attractive and even fall in love. I guess, no, see, it doesn't work like that either. I was going to say, forgive me, Haley, for saying this, but I was going to say, I guess if I had a child with Haley, then me and Justin would be husbands. But I don't want to interfere with their relationship. I hope you understand where my mindset is at. When someone puts a lot of work into a relationship and establishes boundaries, it's not appropriate to violate those boundaries, no matter what your interests are or no matter what you're able to convince someone of. You need to respect other people's relationship boundaries when they put effort into their relationship. I need more coffee. BRB. Start again. It's also similar with how I mentioned Dua Lipa in position number 2, and yet Callum Turner's involved. I don't know what Callum's actual disposition is, like I said, and who knows if he's not a complete asshole, and he's also open-minded. There's a potential for him and I getting along quite swimmingly, if you catch my drift. Was I offended and hurt that Dua Lipa didn't give me an explicit chance? Yes, of course. But I have a feeling I'm not the only person who's felt like that. Well, in the specific way I feel, I'm positive no one ever has felt like that before. But beyond that, and getting over my personal disappointment, who knows what the future holds? Solve problems here. And I'm trying to think outside the box. I'm trying to think about what actually works for human beings instead of just what people have made laws about and said this, that, or the other. This works, that doesn't work. No. I'm thinking about how it actually works. Because think about it this way. If I want more than one wife, if I don't allow those women to have very, very close other male relationships of their choosing, or even just for the industry, I can't go against all industry. And I can't go against relationships people already have if I want to be cooperative. But I do have to find where that line is. Where do I fit in, if at all? I would have been happy to engage in this sort of conduct in America, but what I'm realizing about America is that our legal system is really bad. It's really bad. And very dishonest. And I don't stand for that. I don't stand for tricking people into litigation. I don't stand for having to lie to get your point across. If things change, I'm okay with engaging in American discourse about this subject. I'm not saying Japan is going to be easy to deal with, but there's just more of a history of this sort of thing working out in Japan, as far as I can tell. And yeah, you might say, no, blah, 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 America, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. Slavery. Be careful. Be careful with slavery in America. Incorporate a traditional Japanese background, it's not slavery, it's religion. And it can actually work and be really cool. And yeah, you could say something about, like, isn't that just a cult? Well, yes and no. Because, like, what's the difference between cult and religion, right? What's the difference between cult and society? Because cult is the basis of culture. And I think the point that I'm trying to impress upon all of you is that I'm not trying to eliminate other people's cultures. I'm not trying to replace them with my own. I am just trying to find my place in the world. Oh, Kai Trump is also included. That's right, because I mentioned Trump first. I mentioned Donald. Kai Trump is welcome if she can see her place in this scenario. I'm willing to put aside the differences of our family and come together in sweet, sweet harmony. But she's still just getting her bearings as a young woman. To get that flower time to bloom. So please, check on your texts with me in mind as I continue down this extremely whacked up path. I want you to understand, because I constantly hear this voice in my head says, where do you get off, blah, 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 being like this, lecturing us, blah, 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 talking like this. Where the fuck do I think that I get my right to believe that I deserve this lifestyle? Well, let me tell you something, friends and family. If I had been fairly compensated for my work over my lifetime, and given the correct opportunities which should be afforded to a human like me, I would be richer than you could imagine. And I'm not just saying that from a delusional perspective. There is some delusion involved in there, but it's mostly about what I would and wouldn't be able to do with that money. And also some delusion about, like, how easy it would be to manage that amount of money. But if you genuinely, economists get on this, if you total all the work that I've done and what could have come out of it, especially considering that I did a lot of it just by myself only, you would end up with a lump sum that is similar to that of an entire governmental system. Like a big one. Considering all of the military innovation that I've come up with as well, which, by the way, I'm still willing to implement on these systems which already exist. I had to do a perspective shift and realize the reason that I wasn't able to get paid for my work is because nobody has enough money to pay me. But that's not reason for me to not do the work. If people were going to pay me, it'd basically be like they're giving me everything they have. And it's like, that's not what I'm after here. I don't want your stuff. And if you haven't been producing enough currency and value in order to compensate me, well, then what I've done is simply acquire you. I've acquired, once again, here we go with the potential delusion, right? But I've essentially, without hardly anyone noticing as far as I can tell, produced a body of work which has independently acquired the entire Earth system. Go figure. I have to pee. I'll be right back. Let me put it this way. If I didn't own let's just say the planet, the way the people on this planet have been treating me would have either killed me or caused me to kill myself. End of discussion. I had to go get the mail. Now, the fact that other people maintain assets and operations and everything, yes, all of that's still valid, unless it's not, you know. I'm not claiming that I'm doing your work for you, but I have done a lot of my work for you. There was no mail, by the way. The flag was up, but there was no mail. But I remembered to turn my grow light on today. I'm growing a little hemp plant. They keep dying when I leave them outside. Weird stuff always keeps happening to them. So this one I'm keeping inside. Oh, I did all of them. Okay. Let's go downhill next. And once again, this is all Fantasy League stuff at this point, but well, not all of it. The work that I did is not Fantasy League stuff. I really did that. But, like, moving forward, the future, I'm just trying to use the law of attraction to my benefit without harming people who are good people. You hear me, God? Do you hear me loud and clear? I'm aware of the distinct possibility that I could get killed today, by the way. I'm not acting like I'm bulletproof. I'm not acting like you can't find me. I'm acting like I'm serious. By the way, if I can't have a harem, I'll just become a robot. Or even if I can have a harem, I still might become a robot. Keep that in mind. Preferably after I do the reproducing, but if I'm a reproducing ass MF robot, then so be it. Oh wow, you're a total creep. You like that? Ah, question asked correctly. The "oh, you're a total creep" is coming from someone imaginary. Possibly real, but in my head. Honto ni hen da yo. Na-na. Edgy. And for your information, I'm currently sexually abstinent, as well as abstinent from all non-prescribed drugs. And I don't smoke tobacco cigarettes anymore. I smoke hemp cigarettes. So in case you're wondering, I'm actually capable of this mass reproduction that I'm talking about. And I'm very, very physically active. And I eat pretty healthily, etc., so on and so forth. So long story short, if you actually test me with this and let me go for it, I will succeed. Given that everyone works together. And if you don't work together, then it's just not gonna work. I'm gonna put it that plainly. I'm not gonna force it. Oh, and also the only prescribed medication I'm taking is ketamine, which they give to horses, which I identify with. It's that whip and that nay-nay. I would actually hit the whip and the nay-nay, except I'm driving with my hands. So technically I'm doing both already. I'm not on ketamine at this moment. Although I would like to be able to take it every day at some point, because need I remind all of you that I was already running my own ketamine operation before it was shut down by some greedy-ass motherfuckers. And technically, I don't even know, we never got the lab reports, but all I'll say is I was extracting dimethyltryptamine with salt, and that is how ketamine is made. Now, was the result actually going to come out listing as ketamine? I'm not sure. It may have come out as a mix, because I was using something which, I was using a molar amount of salt, which should have combined minimally but effectively with the dimethyltryptamine for extraction. Whether it continued that bond after extraction or not, I do not know. All I know is that it was working for me, and I was hella motherfucking pissed when people walked up in my shit with rifles and took it from me. And now I can't do it anymore until I figure out how to deal with this. In the meantime, I'm taking someone else's product, and while I'm appreciative for it and grateful, mine was better. Way better. So, let's all keep that in mind, please. Now I make drinks. Non-alcoholic drinks. Well, and you know what's funny? Alcohol is actually a funny topic, because, like, here's a great example. Sugar alcohols, right? That's still alcohol. It's just not what you're thinking of when you think of an alcoholic drink necessarily. So there's a lot more nuance to this game than people necessarily think, due to brainwashing. Corporate brainwashing. Pyramid schemes, scams, all that stuff needs to go out the window. Because what we need is open and honest communication so that we can maximize our value created. Don't think of profit as taking away something from someone else. Think of profit as something that you created. But long story short, I'm basically making different types of, like, beer type brews, but just as tea. I'm not putting yeast in it and fermenting it and creating an intentionally overtly alcoholic drink. I'm creating a tea. If I let it sit on the stove with no heat for a while, I then pasteurize it to make sure that I'm not creating a food hazard, or you know what I mean. And then I put it in the refrigerator once I've put it in a container. That's what I do now. It's actually a pretty similar process to the dimethyltryptamine extraction. It's just different steps, different outcome. But why should I not be able to do both of them? I should be able to do both and more. Hence why I'm growing a hemp plant, to try to approach that perspective as well. You know, starting off with something that is very unlikely to cause problems. But, you know, in the future, I would like to be able to grow poppy plants. I would like to be able to grow coca plants. I would like to be able to grow marijuana plants. And I would like to be able to grow a ton of rye. Oops, my tofu health. Restart. But I want to do it all, you know, from a sustainable and healthy perspective, from a ground-up perspective, not focused on creating quantity over quality, but focused on quality first. Does this sound like a weird corporate spiel? Kind of, except the way that I'm approaching it is honest. And if it starts going wrong, I'm willing to shut it down. Does it sound too good to be true? That's based on your perspective. Do you want it to be true? Then you need to help me. And you need to not say that it's too good to be true and try to stop me. Because that's how it becomes too good to be true, is where you decide you don't want it to happen. Simply based on your prejudices, or whatever. Prejudice. If you have too many prejudice, then it may not work. I'm really more so looking for cooperators than employees. Yes, you can be employed, but the monetary aspect should not be the driving factor. It should be the operation itself which you wish to participate in. If you can't do it without getting paid, then I don't think you should do it. Now, payment is an interesting idea because, you know, what if, okay, so let's say you help me grow marijuana, right, in the future, right? And you help me deliver it to people because we have quite a good crop, because we cooperated. You would have been having access to that crop. So monetary payment doesn't really make sense in that because you're sharing in the actual operation. You're sharing in the direct benefit of the operation. And if we can do it in a way where we don't have to charge people money, if we just deliver as a like a spiritual service, that's what I'm getting at. Is this should be a spiritual endeavor. It should be based on the fact that we have gotten this situation dialed in to the point where we are producing much more value than we are using. We're producing many more resources than we're using to accomplish our goal. And that our payment, as it were, is the healthy and happy lives of the people whom we care about in our society. And they can give back by maximizing their talent to create value. Because they're well and they want to make more out of themselves, just like we do. That is the society that I see. Now, can money still be involved in this? Absolutely. But it definitely shouldn't be the basis. It definitely shouldn't be the basis and the driving force or factor. Oh my God. Yeah, it definitely should not be the motivating factor. It should simply be used to facilitate the process if used at all. Because what is money? It's a bunch of numbers which are supposed to represent work done. But what does money mean if the work is not being done? It means corruption, and it means lawsuits, and it means threats. That's all it is at that point. But if it doesn't directly correlate to work being done, then it means nothing. Money for money's sake is pointless. Work for work's sake is the point. Money for work is acceptable, and work for money is acceptable, but not if it excludes the work, and not if it excludes the well-being of the people working. Keep that in mind. What is currency? Well, what is current? What is electricity? All great questions. What is power? If money is power, where's that power coming from? What's the power grid look like? Is the power being created sustainably? And how are you using that power? All great questions, because guess what? How do I put it this way? This is a little weird to say, but everything has a person. Everything has a spirit. This is the Shinto thing. Everything has a spirit. Everything comes from somewhere, and it has a history, and it's going somewhere. So it has a future. There is a flow of life. So you think I was capping about this fucking Shinto shit. I'm not. This is true. This is how everything works. I'm not just saying it because I'm trying to impress you. It's real. Energy created in one way versus energy created in another way can have drastically different impacts on its use case. Anyone who's handled blood money would know this to be true. Or they wouldn't have known it to be true and suffered the consequences. Have I handled blood money? I don't know. That's a great question. I don't remember most of my life. Does that answer your question? what about crypt money, they all said. Shut the fuck up. Go back to work. Yes, master. I mean, Mass Tire. Yes, Mass Tire. Ah. Jumps around randomly. Picks nose, goes to the bathroom to throw it in the trash can. Let's see, I just picked my nose, but I went to the bathroom and threw out the booger in the trash can and then blew my nose with toilet paper and then washed my hands. Can you believe it? It's almost like things are okay if you do them with proper hygiene and intent. Amazing. My intent was to clear my nostril. Yes, nostril. My nostril may insufflate and create a nos-child who would also nostrilely, insufflatorially create a nos-child if done correctly. That is my thesis. Please read my never mind, don't read that. Just kidding, go ahead and read it. Skibbity, skibbity, got raised. Check on my toe.
Alec, I'm sorry, but you have to go to prison now.
Okay.
Wait, you're just gonna...
Damn it!
You're just gonna let us take you to prison?
Yeah, I mean, if you think I should be in prison, I'm not gonna stop you. But you will have to deal with the consequence of the fact that I'm in prison.
What do you mean, we have to deal with the consequences? You're the one in prison.
Okay, yeah, but you're the one who put me there.
Damn it.
Exactly. It's almost like letting people live their best lives is the best option or something. Go figure. By the way, I don't think prison should not be an option. I just think you should only ever be put in prison if you agree to be put, like, if you actually want to go. And then you should be let out whenever you want. Like, if I need some motherfucking time to think about some shit, like, let's say I'm driving on the Shutoko, right? 223 miles per hour, random pedestrian in the middle of the Shutoko. They should not be there. However, they are there. I completely obliterate them. And while I shouldn't really be held at fault because they should not have been in the middle of the MF Shutoko, I'm gonna need some time to think about that. I'm gonna need some time to process that. And I don't want to be overstimulated. So I'm gonna need to go to my cell, please, and thank you. ACO, I'm ready to go now. I thought about it. It wasn't that bad. And now that I have had time in my cell to receive information about who exploded on my car, I now realize they had no assets, no family, and were simply looking for a way out. And now I don't feel as bad because I actually realized that that was just nature taking its course, and I'm ready to go. And I'm ready to help clean up and stuff. It's only been 2 days I processed it. Okay, let's have another situation. One of my wives dies, and the children commit suicide. I'm gonna need 6 months, bitch. You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna need 6 months in prison. Because I didn't cause that, but I definitely can't be around society right now. And I need to be watched constantly because I might do it too. You see, that's how prison is supposed to work. Oh, this motherfucker beat the fuck out of someone? So what? Are you gonna beat the fuck out of them? Okay, yes or no? If yes, do it. If no, leave them alone. There's probably a reason it happened. Don't resort to prison as punishment. Prison as punishment gets us absolutely nowhere. It does not make sense. You know what does make sense is if you're an indigent motherfucker who doesn't want to live in a tent, which should be an option. You should be able to live in a tent, and there should be public restrooms and bathrooms available for you to clean yourself, and there should be publicly available, free to use laundromats. You should be able to find places where you can harmonically live with society without having an explicit housing arrangement. But if you want to go to a prison because you have no money, or whatever, money is once again, like, theoretical at this point, but if you have no arrangements, you need to go to prison in order to get your life together, probably. But it shouldn't be so oppressive. It should just be clean, almost like a hospital. You know what I mean? It should help you get some structure and some rhythm in your life. And then there should be, this is something that should have been implemented for a long time now, but like there should be some really good programs in the prison system. You should be able to choose, like if you want to go to school and study really hard, but you don't want to be distracted by all these things in your life, you should have the option to live within the prison system while you study, because it's regimented. But also, you should be encouraged to figure this out on your own with halfway programs, like they do sometimes I've heard they do it in Europe, where you're given an apartment, and it's like a prison lifestyle where you still have a CO. And this is basically, we're just getting into the idea of the military at this point. But using the military as punishment also makes no sense. That makes zero sense. Why are you doing it? Don't punish them. Help them find a reason to behave in a way that contributes to society. And if they can't do that, just let them go live in the wild. And you know what? Here's the other thing. If someone just doesn't want to cooperate and they're just trying to harm society, sometimes it's okay to kill them. I'm being serious. If you give them a lot of chances, I don't think you should put them in prison for the rest of their life if they don't want to be there and they don't want to change. You should give them an option to go elsewhere, and if they don't want to go elsewhere, it's okay to kill them. That's my opinion. Now, I don't think you should take that lightly at all. I don't think you should be like, oh, well, then we can just kill anyone. No, that's not what I'm saying. Because that is a slippery slope. That's a slippery slope. And I'm not talking about the death sentence. I'm not talking about, oh, this person did a bad thing, let's punish them. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a very specific scenario. Very specific. And keep in mind, those people, they're not always alone. So be careful with that kind of judgment. Anyway, these are my thoughts on the matter. Moving on. Don't waste an innocent life. But if that life has proven itself over and over to be wasted, there's nothing wrong with cleaning up. That's all. But like I said, exercise extreme caution with that sort of judgment, because any time that you end someone's life, you have effectively taken it from them into yourself. And if you made the wrong decision, boy, is that thing gonna let you know. It's gonna let you know. So be careful. Or it just won't stop. No, my tofu's at 99. I've already gone so far down the hill, though. I'm just gonna finish up. You thought I was 100% only ass motherfucker? Incorrect. I got a 99. What are you gonna do about that, huh? That's crime. It's literal crime. I destroyed value. But I also created value by showing that I have a tolerance for deviation. So what are you going to do about that, huh? You thought you were going to trap me in an infinite do loop with 1% damage? Incorrect. Moving on. How do I feel about arresting people? Not ideal. Arresting people is crime. You should be able to solve these problems without placing people under arrest. Because do you know what arrest is? Think about cardiac arrest. Do you really want to be giving people heart attacks? And if so, why don't you go live on the battlefield? And leave civilians alone. It's an option. In my ideas, in my theoretical capacity, that's an option. But if you're a law enforcement officer and you can't solve the problem without arresting someone, you need to go back to school. You need to go back to training. You need to do some meditation. Placing handcuffs on someone is not necessarily the same as arresting them, by the way, and you should only do that if you have their consent. Now, can this process be expedited? For example, if you are in the military, you can agree to, for as long as your contract is, to being handcuffed under certain conditions without the explicit consent. But you need a way out. That's the thing. If you want out, you need to be able to say something. And what happens when we have these problems where we have conflicts of interest and violence arises? Great question. Benny, what do we do? Get him. We call Wei. That's what happens. We call Wei Shen. Wei, we got a problem. Administration of justice required. Third-party solutions. That's what I'm getting at.
I don't think that's gonna work, Alex. Wei Shen isn't real.
You better stop right there. Before I see your organs listed on the black web. And before you say Wei Shen doesn't do that, yes he does, he just doesn't do it in a criminal manner. He does it extremely organizedly. And producing value. Turning nothing into something. Isn't that wonderful? No more cafefe until I complete this delivery. Oh, and my commentary on these cars is, you know, we had some really good designs for cars, like this Hachiroku design, and I think the main fallacy of this generation of vehicle was simply the limitations of the time. The manufacturing capacity for vehicles was to mostly an extent of lesser ability. In the modern day, we have better tools. Arguably, some people would say everything was better when these cars were designed, but I would like you to look in a direction where we have made some progress in some areas over time. But I would like to say that I do think that we went too far. I think that we should return to vehicles like this Hachiroku and some of the other designs created around this time. But I think that we should just use modern manufacturing techniques to produce them with upgraded technology. But not too much, because that's what ruined our modern vehicles. I think we should also have the choice to make these vehicles by hand. You know, kind of like a kit car in a way, but I think we should have an option to actually, visit a factory and like put in the work ourselves. And then, of course we want it to be inspected, but it's your life on the line. If it's your car and you're building it for yourself. If you say, no, I think this I have enough experience now, I think this weld is good, and someone says, well, I don't agree, you should still have the right. If you have enough experience with this stuff, you should have the right to say, well, I don't care that you disagree, I'm going to go drive it anyway. And they should just say, okay, it's your choice. If you cause damage to other people's vehicles, you have to pay for it just the same as if I had approved of this weld. I'll just slap a shitbox sticker on your car instead. One sticker is for complete approval, and it says, what does it say? Fuck box. And then the other sticker is for all you rebels out there, and it says shit box. You can still drive it. It's just a message to everyone that they better not follow you too closely. Something like that. You understand I'm just riffing, right? But some of these ideas are actually really good. They might manifest differently than I've expressed them, but the general sentiment is very solid. Oh, also, if other people want to implement these ideas that I'm talking about, be my guest. The reason I'm saying them is because I think they're objectively helpful. If you want to go ahead and do that, whether you credit me or not, whether you set aside resources for me or not, is up to you, and it should be based on morality and utilitarianism. True morality and spirituality. But go ahead. Like, I want these concepts to be universally available and actively employed, actively used, because I think it's the right way to do things. You want to grow a farm, you want to have a harem, you want to start an empire, do it. I'm just saying what I want, and I think it's how it works. I think that's how it works. And if you disagree, that's fine too, as long as it doesn't interfere with mine. And if it does, well then I just have to accept that, because once again, like I said, I'm not going to try to force this idea. I would like to apply some modicum of forward momentum, if you will. But if I encounter a scenario which requires me to not continue, I will just accept that. Okay, now I get Cafefe again.
there wasn't much left, so I drank it and left the mug out there, which means I'm also almost done with this video. And I don't even know if you could hear me. I don't know if I had the levels tuned properly for the microphone and stuff. But, you know, remember, first and foremost, I'm doing this for myself. And not in like an overtly narcissistic manner, but simply in the fact that my life begins with me. Let's check the garage. Yay, there's something new. I actually think I like this one better, but I want to just put the newest one on. Oh, there's two options. Let's go with this one. Yeah, I think I like this. Actually, wait. That style is probably the best one of the ones I've seen so far. But I'm just, you know, trying out new things. Do do. Not yet, but one day I'll have the pop-up headlights. That's the dream. The Levin is cool though, and I like the Levin because it's a lot like my Nissan Frontier, my 1997 Nissan Frontier. The front end looks very similar. Not with the body kit. I don't have a body kit, but the main difference is that the hood, there's like an extra little bit of body right above the headlights. Like it rises up a little more before it goes back. And then the other main difference is I think my chassis is longer, and also instead of a hatchback, I have a truck bed. But other than that, they're a very similar vehicle. Also, mine is automatic. Yes, I know. But you can still shift with the automatic shifter. And it's also a Nissan, but like, how different is that really from Toyota, you know? KA24DE is very similar to a, oh crap, my brain just fried itself. For AGEU. Anyway. Alright, let's do this delivery. Let's go. Oops, not that one. This one. How many do I have left? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna do these 4 deliveries and then I'm gonna go do something else. Final destination, swoot swoot. next time I'll probably do this on the simulator. That'll be fun. That's right, fam. I am not necessarily a pimp. You may have categorized me as a pimp because you thought that I didn't have this whole whacked up family plan, but I do. Can I also engage in pimping activities? Probably. I'm probably capable of it, but that's not what I'm up to right now. Is my skeleton a bundle of sticks? Yes, insofar as every human is a faggot. Am I particularly more faggoty than others? Not necessarily. I think I have the same number of bones as pretty much everyone else, give or take a few. Mythbusters type beat. I heart tofu. Dispelling rumors be like, can you believe this person said this thing about this person when it's the opposite of true and they just said it just to get ahead in life and now everybody exposed them and they're just a loser? Oh my god. This person was the one labeled as a loser, but they're not actually a loser. So be careful because the other person could also turn out not to be a loser and just have been mistaken. So practice some empathy.
are going off, and let me give you a little piece of information about myself that might clarify your questions. I was born on camera. Does that answer your question? No Kizap in my feeds. First thing I ever did as a human being in this world was be naked on camera. That's the first thing I ever did. I did that before I cried. They actually had to make me cry, which I disagree with. Don't do that. But how are we supposed to? I was already breathing. This is why protocol and policy needs to be reviewed, revised, and approached with caution. Next thing that happened, which is what went wrong in my life, is my foreskin got cut off. So let's not do that anymore, you dig? That's the whole reason I have these weird limitations and disabilities. Not that you can't acquire them in other ways, which I have also acquired them in other ways, but I am to believe that I would not have acquired these other issues necessarily if the first issue hadn't happened. And I'm not blaming anyone, I'm just pointing out that maybe it's not a great idea. That was the thing I was talking about in the beginning of this video, which has caused so many problems. But I happen to know that genetically I'm capable of much more, and that if I can just reproduce with the right women, and then not do that to my children, they would have a great life. Spent a lot of time thinking about how life should be lived instead of living life how it's supposed to be lived. And so I think that my ultimate goal in life and my purpose on this planet is to be a world-changing father. And if that's not it, then that's fine. I can choose other things like being a world-changing robot. I can turn from a human into a robot. That'd be cool. Maybe my purpose on this planet is just to like, live and then die. Maybe it's not that complicated. But, if you want to look at it from these different perspectives, there's a lot of reason to believe that I might be able to be a world-changing father. Yes, I know what the next question is. And my answer is FAFO. I'm just thinking about what if you can't hear me over the fucking sounds of the game and you can only hear me when it's quiet. And you're like, what the fuck has he been talking about? I don't know if you're going to be able to hear me or not throughout the whole thing. But if you can, I think it would make a lot of things clear about me. Or it might just confuse the absolute fuck out of you. Who knows? It's a cosmic mystery. Also, I'm aware that my voice is probably just coming out of one side. And I tried to fix that, but it was too difficult for me at the moment to figure it out. So,
and I had to put the other microphone that I had for secondary, I had to put it in the closet because it I bumped my head on it and I got upset. I also beat it up. I punched it. I went, and then I put it in the closet. Oh wait, no, I punched it after I put it in the closet. So now my microphones are gay, and this one's the only one that's gay, but also not in the closet. Actually, they were probably gay. That's right. All microphones are gay, because everything is gay. I forgot about that. Marrying a woman and having children with a woman is gay, because that woman has a father. And that woman is just that father in disguise. So keep that in mind, Maria, when you ask why I'm sitting so close to your dad. Oh, and also shouts out to young Miko's brother, who seems to keep a low profile. I don't know you, but I'm guessing that you are cool. Or not. You might not be cool. I don't know. You might want to stick a screwdriver in my stomach right now. And I might just let you, because I have depression. So be careful with your decisions. Or you might want to give me a hug and pat me on the back, which is also acceptable. I don't know. And see, the next person I have to address is Jean. Hello, Jean. I want to remind you that the basis for all this conversation is the fact that I have a bunch of whacked up skills that no one seems to recognize as valid because they're all hung up on making money. And then the second aspect is that I have an outstanding disposition despite my extreme mental illness. And thirdly, I've been through things that would have made most people give up a long time ago, and I still haven't given up. So there's that. Those three things in combination are pretty much the reason why I feel qualified to speak on this. And if you disagree, well then, batter up, as they say. Or if you agree, but you also have intrusive thoughts which you cannot manage because you have no way of controlling your behavior, also batter up. I'm looking at you, Majima. And I will inform you, I have already been hit with a baseball bat very hard when I was 10 years old. I don't want to necessarily repeat that, but if that was your justification for hitting me with a baseball bat, then that is, don't worry, taken care of. I even have tattooed a bat on my rib cage where I got hit, but not a baseball bat. I tattooed an actual bat. And for your information, yes, I'm aware that this tattoo is supposed to be like somehow intertwined with the Chinese mafia. I don't mind the Chinese mafia. I tend to like the Chinese mafia in most scenarios. You know why? Because chi is energy. And if
your organization represents a perpetuation of energy, well then I might be able to use that to my advantage. And I happen to know that energy is reciprocal. And I also happen to like saying ching-ah. But keep in mind that replica comes first for me right now. All these ideas, they essentially mean nothing without replica at the moment. And that's not a license for you to attack replica.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. And we're going to keep doing this until you're all dead. And every time one of you who says it was licensed to attack replica attacks replica and we kill you, we turn you into a replica. So keep that in mind. If that's what you want, you got a great deal going on. Also, that may or may not be true. I'm actually just saying things. Just like, watch this. UHC, wait a minute. We're almost done here. And I do have... Wait, what day is it? I do have my ketamine treatment today. In Troche form. Thankfully, I'm not doing an intravenous ketamine treatment today. I don't particularly like needles going in my arm. Which is why I was smoking the DMT I was extracting. I tend to find that much more amenable, as well as putting it in a vape juice, or in a dry vape. That works too. But the Troche will have to suffice for now, because I am following my prescriptive orders to prove a point. Would you like to know how much ketamine I'm taking today? I will be taking 150 milligrams of ketamine. And I will be staying active. In fact, I think I'll be switching to the simulator and continuing to practice my driving, because at this point, there is an instruction associated with my ketamine usage, which says, please do not drive until 6 hours after administration. And I do not like that limitation, so I am practicing my driving under the influence of ketamine in a safe manner due to the use of simulatory practices. It's actually pretty much the main activity I do on ketamine now, is I go and I use the simulator and I practice driving. I used to drive on it all the time when I was extracting my own. And for the sake of this conversation, we're just going to call the result of my extraction ketamine, because it may have just been DMT with the salt assisting in the extraction, or it may have been ketamine. I don't know, because the lab report never got submitted properly. Or at least not in my, I never received a report, which is really ironic because I was the chemist. Why am I not getting the lab report? If you took it from me by force and you said that you did a lab report, well then why do I not have access to it? Well, you never said you did a lab report? What happened to it then, huh? The extraction was at its final stages. For personal use. What don't you get about that? Anyway, I was driving on it all the time, and I was driving just fine. Don't even argue with me on that. Just don't. But can I be better? Yes, I can. That is what I'm striving for. And I'm going to tell you something. In confidence. I did drive down the road to Home Depot right after I took my ketamine one day. I was fully under the influence and I drove to Home Depot and back, and it was fine, man. Nothing happened. I don't have any trouble driving on it. However, I don't want to tempt fate, so I don't do that on most days. On most days, I severely avoid driving on it because I don't want to get in trouble. And I don't want to abuse people's trust in me. It's that simple. But actually, driving on ketamine, at least in practice, you know, all things aside, is one of my favorite things to do. It's actually it's the end goal here, along with being able to use marijuana in a responsible manner. But like I said, I am in a society which has yet to catch up to me. It is trying. I think it's trying to catch up to me. And I have a lot of catching up to do too. Like, for example, I'm not very well versed in the use of opium products. I would love to get an education on the use of opium products. And coca products, like cocaine. I need more experience in this regard in order to live a full human life. But I do not like being accused of being on the wrong side of the law. And I don't like doing things in a way that isn't spiritual and that isn't scientific. You know? And I do like paying my dues, but I don't like being abused. So these are things we have to work out in order for me to live a full human life and reach my potential. Hypothetically, there's still quite a bit of time left. I'm 30 years old. You know, in theory, I should be able to live to 100 at least. And by that time, I should be able to turn into a robot. Or a cyborg, I guess. Whatever. But, that's my premise. Yeah, so I'll probably, after I'm done with this delivery run, which is now. Okay, so now I'm done. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go take a shower. I'm going to eat some oatmeal with fruit in it. And I'm going to make sure that I don't have any other responsibilities and obligations for the day. And then if I do, I'm going to complete those. Oh, I should probably mow the grass before I take a shower. And then once I complete everything I'm supposed to do, I'm going to take my ketamine, and I'm going to go on the simulator, and I'm going to continue practicing driving. So that's the goal here.